In the world of football, you've got your big clubs, and then you have what we call super clubs. Today, we're going to dive deep into the story of one of the absolute biggest, FC Bayern Munich. We're going to unpack what makes this German giant one of the most famous, most decorated, and, yeah, most resilient football clubs on the entire planet. So, let's get right into it. You've definitely seen this crest before. I mean, it's recognized everywhere. But what's really behind this symbol of Bavarian pride and footballing excellence? Well, it's a story that stretches back over 120 years, a story packed with incredible highs, some truly devastating lows, and an amazing will to not just survive, but to dominate.
Okay, so to really get a grip on the scale of Bayern Munich today, you have to start with the numbers. The stats that define their modern success are, well, they're almost hard to believe. 34. Just let that sink in. That is the record number of national titles FC Bayern has won. And to put that into perspective, it's the most of any club in German football history. And folks, it's not even close.
Now, what about consistency? Let's look at this number, 11. From 2013 all the way to 2023, Bayern won the league title 11 times in a row. That's a whole decade of just undisputed rule at home. It's a level of sustained excellence you almost never see in any top European league.
And, their power isn't just a German thing. Oh no. This number, 6, that's how many European Cup and UEFA Champions League titles they've brought home. It's a German record, and it puts them right up there with the absolute kings of European football. But this might be the peak of their power. In 2020, Bayern did something unbelievably rare. They won the sextuple. That means they won every single competition they could have possibly entered in a calendar year. Only one other club in the history of the sport has ever managed that. This wasn't just a good season, it was historic perfection.
So how did this global giant even get started? I mean, how does a club go from absolutely nothing to a name that's known all around the world? Well, like all great stories, it started small. So let's rewind and go all the way back to the beginning. It all kicked off in the year 1900 with just 11 players led by a guy named Franz John. A decade later, they were playing in their first regional league. By 1926, they were champions of South Germany. And just 6 years after that, in 1932, they reached the very top. They were champions of all of Germany for the very first time. You can just see that steady, impressive climb. But just as they reached that summit, the club's story took a sudden, very dark turn. The rise of Nazism in Germany wouldn't just stop their progress, it would threaten their very existence. The impact was immediate and just devastating. The club's president, Kurt Landauer, and the team's coach were both Jewish, and they were forced to flee the country for their lives. Many other members were just purged from the club. All that progress was brought to a brutal, abrupt halt by the political regime. And this quote right here really captures the kind of hostility they faced. Bayern was openly taunted as the Jews' club. This was way more than a challenge on a football pitch. This was a fight for survival in the face of intense, hateful discrimination. So after the war, the club had to rebuild from the ashes, literally. It took time, of course, but this period of recovery eventually led them to what everyone calls their golden age, the era that would define them on the world stage and create a true European dynasty. And the main man, the central figure of that dynasty, was the absolute legend Franz Beckenbauer. They called him Der Kaiser, and his leadership, his revolutionary style of play as captain, took Bayern to heights they had never even dreamed of before. And here is the proof. This is what that leadership delivered. 3 straight European Cup victories, 1974, 1975, and 1976. Look, winning Europe's top prize once is a massive, massive achievement. To do it 3 years in a row, that cemented their status as absolute football royalty, no question. And that brings us right back to today. That whole history of success, of resilience, of iconic leadership, that's what laid the foundation for the modern-day behemoth that FC Bayern has become, a club that is so much more than just a team on a pitch. Their dominance on the field is totally matched by their power off the field. They've become a financial titan. We're talking about the most revenue of any sports club in Germany, and they rank as the 5th highest earning football club in the entire world. They really are a global powerhouse. But what really powers this whole machine? It's not just the money, it's the people. Check out this number, over 432,500. That is the number of official paying club members.
Just think about that for a second. That absolutely massive number makes FC Bayern Munich the largest sports club in the world by membership. It's proof that this enormous, passionate, and incredibly loyal fan base is the true heart of the club's power and its unbelievable global reach.
So that leaves us with one big question to think about. After more than a century of incredible triumphs and times of profound turmoil, what really defines a superclub like Bayern? Is it the mountain of trophies sitting in their cabinet? Or is it the resilience that allowed them to survive the absolute darkest of times and rise again stronger than ever?